got to get your hand in a way that you can get that button while you hold the stick. So this takes a while to correct. So you'll see over time, like the USBL is starting to make sense now. You can also, the compasses are a really good tell, right? You'll see like everything will just slowly rotate. Yeah, some people are a little bit more flippant where they let the vehicle get at these depths because it really doesn't matter. But it can take a long time to get it back there. Like I'm a pretty big stickler for like, I will spend the entire 2,500 meters out behind the ship where I'm supposed to be, you know, rather than going back and forth. What's up?
Right. I'm used to this graphic showing which way the wash is going, and this thing's like totally opposite, right? Yeah, see that? How often do they change the hydraulic pump on this spread? Yeah.
I'm not on here. And then we, so yeah, once we were thinking that, we just, when we had it on the deck, we just ran it with the K-strain disconnected. And it was like a pretty substantial flow over that. So then we said, okay, we'll swap it out. And then it's like night and day. This one's good. I don't think this got a lot of time on it yet. Like I said, it might have been last year that we did it.
I was doing a bit of reading in the electricals, and I noticed like they're running a 2-pole motor. So it's running almost 3,600 RPM, and the pump's designed for 1,800.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the Ropo sled was a 2-pole motor, and just 8 pumps.
Well, I don't know. We've done 2 in my time here. I guess that's seems a little high, but I don't know. This vehicle works a lot too.
Yeah. At some point, the Ropo's kids were going through 2 a year, you know?
Yeah, no, that's not
crazy.
Another thing too, when you're locking in all these inputs, before you lock them in, just try and hold them for a minute and see what it's doing to your main hydraulic pressure. Because sometimes it's just a little hair too much, and then you you overrun the pump, and then it kind of, you have to draw it back a little bit. Like you can get it up to a fine line, and you can maintain like 25 or 2700 psi, and then you're rocking. If you go a little tiny bit further, you might dump it all the way down to 2000 or something, and then it's not so good. Okay, I'm gonna kill this pump. So your pressure is only back up to there.
It's bouncing around a lot.
Yeah,
a lot just yet.
But it's like 2022, something like that.
Yep.
So just take it out of stick lock and try and get these values back. Now see, you're back up where you want to be, right?
Yep.
So try and get a little bit more lateral on. Hold. Those are good numbers. See if you can lock that. You don't need that much lat. Come back on it. It's tricky to get it all figured out.
I lost my head.
Yeah. Yeah, you need like about 30 or 40% lateral and a little ahead. Yeah, try that. There you go. Now, so you lost some of your Z, but you can do that with the pot. You can bias the other way, put it back up to 100.
Okay.
So that's all, looks great. That might not be enough, but you can judge that with the tether and the sonar. See, you're coming around here.
Right.
Slowly. Usually when we recover Herc, we kind of, even if we're in a good position behind the ship, we'd want to do this walking back and forth anyway, because it actually makes them come up a little bit quicker. You take the vertical thruster wash, shoves it off the box. So even if you're in a good position, unless you're very, very light, it's usually we're just walking around side to side until you get up very close and then just go out straight.
So will this
Doesn't seem
trim?
to be doing anything.
Does this trim at all, or is it just
Doesn't look like it.
locked out? That's not doing anything.
Oh.
Sure.
No, go ahead.
Cool.
Yeah, like if you find that, on the future cruises out here, if you're trying to come up and you can't achieve like a sensible speed, if you can't get beyond like 15 meters per minute and we're going to be all day coming up, then you do the swishing back and forth maneuver before you start thinking about dumping off plate. And just dump plate. Like if you're swishing around back and forth and you can only get 14 meters or something like that, and you're deep, then usually that's when you would toss weight then.
It's something they were talking about in the conference call today.
Yeah.
Their permitting doesn't allow for any plates to be dropped in the OCNMS.
Right. So they have to come up with some alternative or just not do it.
They're talking about sandbags.
Yeah.
Burlap bags with sand in them. Bob Waters was on the call and he's saying, where are we supposed to put those?
So you can see, regardless of what the USBL is telling you, as you rotate over, you can tell from Argus's heading and Herc's heading when you're in line with the back of the ship better than that can tell you, right?
Roger that.
What did I miss?
Not much.
Pavel's doing pull-ups, shaming everyone. Have you seen the captain doing pull-ups? He does about, I don't know, 1,000 or so.
So that's more or less lined up with ship now, right?
Yep.
So
just go over that center, and then you just wag back and forth. Rest of the way up.
would you do that by changing the lateral input?
Yep. But like let it keep going the way it is now, and then when you get off the, you know, when you're gone too far off to port, then just do the opposite of what you did. Just try and try and get a little tiny bit more ahead on than what you got there, just a bit, and then try and get the opposite lateral in. And then you just wave around back there until you get to, I don't know. I like to stay in, you know, the more shallow you get, if you're making a big wide swath, certainly I'd rein that in a bit, the more shallow you get. And then when they're up around 300 meters or so, we start making changes anyway. We start having the ship go ahead at point 2, so you're going to get pulled straight then anyway. And then I kind of usually give this up and just drive straight. You could look at it like, you know, Argus is at 120 now, right? You could think about turn them around and then let them go to, you know, 170 or something, you know.
Seemed to be, I'm wondering if there was a current that was setting us off when, because it was going around with
A little more lateral than that. There you go. All right. No.
Nope.
So see, because what? Well, okay. Why? What's wrong with it?
I think it's a little more lateral than I need. I'm dumping flow.
That's the flow I'm looking at. Yeah.
All right. It was
Yeah, that's great there if you can get that.
I need an extra finger.
I can help you if you need me to. Just have to remind me where the button is. It's the last one, right?
There you go. Excellent.
Excellent's good.
And then yeah, you're always watching your delta, and then don't try and accommodate the winch. Just tell the winch person to accommodate you. You're trying
Sprint
to,
up. Yeah.
Kim, you can tell us all about our next expedition since you were on the call that I missed. What kind of fun are we going to have? On Oceanomass? Gonna look for meteorites?
Yeah.
What else was there? Some mapping, I think?
I'm interested in the meteorite, but not least of all because I spent several hours creating a meteorite trap for the exhaust from the dredge.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure I'll recover the use of my hands and skin healing fairly well. So I stainless steel wire cage.
Yeah.
And trying to put magnets inside. You drop by the shop and I'll show it to you.
So you're working on this now?
It's done.
Oh, I gotta see it. That's pretty cool.
Except for the mounting arrangement, which I'll get Dan to help me with that.
I'm gonna come by and see it.
The magnets that I guess Mark Freeze provided are brutal. You get two of them stuck together.
Yeah.
You try to get them apart. Hilarious.
So it's like this meshy cage with magnets in it? Yeah? Huh.
Yeah, magnets are how we got the last one, I think. Magnets and a scoop.
Were you on that cruise?
I was, and I was really hoping to be on this cruise, on the next one. When I first heard that they were going to go a couple years shortly after. Go again, I was really hoping, but.
I was on the Tangaroa when you guys were doing that cruise down in New Zealand, and we were getting a kick out of the videos that Outreach was doing. It's like,
yeah.
What's the likelihood of finding the magnet?
Yeah.
And I think Lindsay was like, it is not a question of if, it is a question of when.
Yeah, in the laundry room too, right? Because his dream of getting the laundry room on social media has come true.
Right, I forgot about all the videos.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark from NASA, Space Desk Curator or something like. He has a really cool.
Best title ever.
Yeah, he's awesome. He has great stories and.
Space Dust Curator.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's great.
That is way cool. I can't wait to send an email home. They're saying like, I spent the afternoon designing and building a trap for space dust. How was your day?
Looks like a bunch of sampling maybe too. Some corals and stuff. Should be fun.
Say the least, I'm a bit jealous.
And they talked about bazillions of push cores.
How are you feeling about push cores?
I'm hoping Jess is really good with that.
You'll both be really good at them by the time you're done. Look at it that way. Although those cores came, they'll be coming off and on the front porch. Only be 5 on the side.
The way the cores go in the sample tray on the starboard side.
Yeah.
Imagine having a cigar tube in your back pocket and then taking a pen and trying to stick it in the cigar tube, blindfolded.
It's a good analogy. You guys do a great job. I'm always impressed. You make it look easy.
You haven't seen me do it.
I did see Mike giving Jess a schooling moment and then completely blow it. It was pretty hysterical, actually. Sorry, Mike.
I can't remember.
You're like, let me show you how that's done.
Oh, and then the struggle with it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It was classic. It was good.
The first time I saw a craft armed, Robo's kids bought a Raptor. It's almost identical to this arm, but shorter. And Vincent, Auger, and I spent hours and hours in the shop practicing with this thing. I brought my kids' collection of wooden blocks into the shop, and after work we spent hours like building castles and stuff with the arm. But I mean, it's totally different doing it subsea because it's 2D.
Yeah.
You don't have that depth perception. It's really good to have a couple of different camera angles, and kind of spoiled rotten with the Ropo sled because it's got like 14 cameras looking at it.
Oh yeah.
The brow camera on here is really handy. The fact that you can pan, tilt, and zoom with it.
Yeah, I mean, just watching you guys do it, you make it look just like it's pretty straightforward. And then I watch somebody new try and do it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty tough. It's hard to do.
We learn things that aren't immediately obvious, but you've got a light shining, and if you're trying to bring the manip down to a surface, you can watch the shadow, and the manip converge.
Yeah.
And then you know
tricky.
You're at the spot. It's funny, the 2D effect, you see something and you're going to reach for it, and you think you got it, and you go, wait, and you look in the other camera and go, oh.
Yeah. It's a bit of artistry.
Something I was struggling with the other day, mainly, I like to think, because I haven't done it for a while, it's like that, you see sometimes the arm comes underneath. It's like we call it working in your armpit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that with the master, left is still left and right is still right, but up is down and down is up.
Yeah.
And we just like have an intuitive grasp of that. Depends on continual practice. You gotta be doing it all the time. You can think about it and work your way through it, but it's painful.
This is the first cruise that I've been on to where I used the other arm. It's just a lot to deal with.
Yeah, he doesn't come out very much, does he? Cam, Start flying lateral over the other way there.
Roger that. Imagine it'd be fun to be on the science party line and have hiccups.
That'd be terrible. Just to hit mute all the time. Everybody's angry at you.
Yeah.
A nightmare.
I've been there.
I was sitting in the other seat. When I'm going for the mute, there's a button just below that. And I kept changing the screen.
Oh no.
And I'm trying to figure out what's happening. Why is that? Why is that doing that? Oh, it's me. So I say I want a big red mute button right here.
Yeah.
So you just go.
Easy before you cough or something.
Not like I ever cough.
No, never.
It's some interesting transects to do.
For this one coming up?
Have you looked at the?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm looking at
sorry.
it right here.
I'm sorry. How gauche of me to ask you to admit that you haven't looked at the cruise plan on an open mic, right?
No, I've been really focused on this cruise. So I printed it a few days ago, but this is the kind of the first time I'm glancing at it because I meant to be on the call today.
It shows a slope and canyon and traverse up and across like on an angle up slope and then straight back down because you can't survey anything coming down. I suppose you could if you back down, but so it's like this sawtooth.
So we're gonna go up and then just pull back and drop. Yeah, okay.
It's like a face, so like Argus is gonna have to follow like up the slope.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be in a position where you decide to stop and Argus keeps going and smacks you in a cliff. I have a lot of experience smacking in a cliff from towed camera body that DFO in Canada uses to survey seamounts. So we're towing this thing up seamount. It's got those thrusters, right? It's past towed body. And it's got a sonar on it. And forward rangefinder, we use an altimeter pointed forward. So we can get a sense of how far away the cliff is. But every once in a while, the slope goes from something like it's easy to cope with to almost vertical. And the operator, it's basically we've got a winch, it's a heave comp winch, very nice winch, hobble, and a joystick, and that's basically all the control you have over this thing. Make the ship go faster or slower, and crank on the winch, and it can be pretty exciting.
Well, we'll have a lot more kind of base map information. Hopefully help a little bit with some slope maps and stuff.
I guess a positive aspect of that is that with respect to Argus and the layback is that as you get farther up the slope, Argus will be shallower and there won't be so much of that. To be concerned about. Like what I'm thinking is that like the shallower, can you say that? The more shallow Argus is, the more you can count on it being like under the ship. And not like swinging.
As opposed to the guessing game.
It's all resting on you, Aaron.
Yep. I could just start doing more math in my head. Maybe I could figure it out better.
Ian cracked me out the other day. Saying one of his guys came to him when they were laying the cable and said, if we go 2 knots instead of 1 knot, we could get this done in half the time. Ian just cracked up. That engineering degree is really paying off.
It's funny what's funny too after a couple weeks. Too. Everything's funny.
So Kim, you see the way you're don't seem to be making any headway.
Yes, I'm noticing.
Right? So I would just try and put a bit more lateral on, see if that helps you.
Yeah, what made me wonder about whether there's a current running, because it seems to go much easier in one direction than the other.
Yeah.
Volunteer from the audience.
That's good there. Should work for you.
Are we doing anything with the orbit on this one?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Fun.
Plume hunting.
I like that little sonar.
I'd be interested to see how that works. Lindsay G was talking about it in the call.
Yeah.
And he said they did some trials with it.
Yeah, we had it out during shakedown, and we were on a known plume and looking for it, seeing if we could track it from the water column. And then we had the floats on the USBL mooring too. We were using that as a target. It was fun. The only thing that kind of stinks, we can't figure out how to flip the interface. So like it's looking that way, but it's facing this way. So you gotta kind of flip it all in your head. It was minor. It's pretty straightforward to get it running.
When imaging sonars, or first penetrating ROV field. The ROPOS kids were looking at one, and they told me which one they were looking at, and couldn't remember the name of it. It was blue something.
Blue view.
Blue. Oh yeah, I know that. I know that now, but
yeah.
I couldn't remember. And then, okay, what is this sonar? It's like, so I decided that it was probably blue beam.
Blue beam sounds lovely.
Sound like, yeah, it makes sense, right? And wow, talk about down the rabbit hole. Unless you're really tragically bored, do not search blue beam on the internet. It's a very, very elaborate conspiracy theory.
No way, really?
There are like a dozen sites that refer to it in pages and pages and pages of narrative. The secret CIA plot to stage the second coming of Christ.
What?
No, I'm not. I'm just serious.
No way.
Really? This is a thing. Okay. But it's not. You have to think that's ridiculous. I mean, I understand there's a secret Nazi base under Antarctica. Everybody knows about that.
Right, yeah.
But this other thing is just weird.
That is totally random. Last year they were testing out the Coda Octopus too for looking for targets. 3D imaging and cool little like software interface that really kind of imaged the plumes coming up. It's pretty cool to watch.
Something you were talking about the other day with respect to nav, like USBL performance. Something that has a really significant effect on that is the self noise on the vehicle. I think it was Dan the other day made the observation that this vehicle seems to be actually louder in bypass than at full pressure, whereas other vehicles we're familiar with, the opposite is true. If you're not getting any nav hits, a strategy is to put it into bypass. That'll like reduce the hydraulic pressure and the load on the motor and the pump and so on, and it'll get quieter. And this vehicle actually gets louder.
How do you know that? How do you know it gets louder? Just from watching the nav go out?
It's inferred by the fact that you lose the nav.
Okay.
Watch
the fish run away? Is that how we know?
Yeah.
They're running for the hills.
Yes, I also question your experiment.
I'm blaming it on, I mean, I'm giving full credit to Dan for that one, but something I noticed with a DFO camera sled, it's called BOOTS. Classic backronym. And I can't even remember what it stands for. Bathyal Ocean Observation, televideo system or something like that. Because it has no motor, it has no pump. It's a tow body. You can get good nav to remarkable depths with that, just because it's so quiet.
You know, I wish I would have paid more attention when we had the sonar on and we're testing that to see what that was like at deeper depths. Because, I mean, now it's beautiful, right? It's like above 1,300, it really tightens up quite a lot. But then as soon as we get below 2,000, it's just all over the place.
Below 2,000, operating from the Venerable John P. Tully, Canadian Coast Guard science flagship. It's notoriously loud, puts a lot of noise in the water.
Below 2,000 meters?
No, always and ever. Always and ever puts a lot of noise in the water, the Tully.
Oh, okay.
So you get down below 2,000 meters, your chances of getting nav hits are minimal. We put the vehicle into bypass and ask the ship to run quiet, which they can do. Generator runs off the mains, so it's going all the time. They can shuttle that down, and then it's suddenly dead quiet, and you get a couple of nav hits. Reinitialize the INS, and spark everything back up again.
So that is the workflow then on there. You have them go quiet for a while, kind of get a feel for where you are, lock in DVL, and then go for a while. Well, it was nice having all those kind of known points to lock in on, but that's not our normal reality.
See, this is all lining up now with what the observed reality is from other sources.
It's nice and tidy. I like it. AJ, I gotta say I'm happy that we're done, because there's just way too many targets on this at this point. I was like trying to figure out where we were going today, and it's just this cloud of targets and high pack.
Well, how do you expect us to hunt for bead bags if we don't have
if we don't mark them all randomly?
Drop at every bead bag that we find.
It was like going down memory lane. It's like, oh yeah, wait with a line. I remember that. That was a couple days ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and then the search.
Buried.
The ADCP search, that was many days ago.
Cable intersection.
Lawn chair, this was the lawn chair site.
Yeah, this is the lawn chair site. Yeah, as we searched for the ADCP here.
Memories.
Yeah, such great memories. And then we also searched for the red cable starting point.
We did.
Anchor.
And then let's repeat it again. We nailed that box at the end of our watch. Found it.
Where did you find it?
It was up.
Oh yeah, there.
Quite far northeast.
And cable end. Wow.
That was yeah, just the very end. Yeah. I didn't find it. It was not me. It was Nico and Mike.
I know.
We all found it. We're a team.
That's awfully kind.
It was process of elimination, Aaron, anyway. There was nowhere else to look.
That's right. We
I'm not going to take too much credit for that. There's just one big patch with no track lines. Or maybe it's up there.
Let's hope. After the 2 hours back and forth over here. It was weird that we just didn't find that red cable. Was it really buried then? I didn't pay attention.